high fructose corn syrup, caramel color, sodium benzoate, and artificial flavors, all hiding inside maple syrup. Brands. American families have poured for generations. But open the wrong bottle, and what's going on your grandmother's pancakes is industrially refined corn, colored with ammonia-processed caramel, and held together with cellulose gum. If you've been buying the same brand for 10, 20, 30 years, none of it was maple, and all of it went into your body. I'm counting down 10 to throw out and 8 that earned your trust, based on FDA labels and 2016 congressional investigations. Starting with the cheapest bottle on the shelf. Number 10. Great Value Original Syrup. This is Walmart's house brand. It costs about $2 for 24 ounces, and that price tells you everything. Flip the bottle over and read the ingredient list. First ingredient, corn syrup. Second ingredient, high fructose corn syrup. Then water. Then artificial flavors, cellulose gum, caramel color, sodium benzoate, sorbic acid, and sodium hexametaphosphate. The word maple does not appear. Not once. Sodium hexametaphosphate is an industrial chemical also used in water treatment facilities. It is in your breakfast syrup to prevent crystallization. That is the kind of engineering going into making corn taste like trees. The bottle says original syrup, not maple syrup, not even maple flavored, just syrup. Walmart is technically not lying. They are counting on you not reading the label, not knowing the difference between what the front of the bottle suggests and what the back actually says. At $2 a bottle, you are not buying syrup. You are buying a corn derivative with a brown dye job. That was a pricing trick. But price is not the only trick on this shelf. Number 9. Hungry Jack Original. Hungry Jack has been a breakfast brand since the late 1950s. It is owned by the J.M. Smucker Company, one of the largest food corporations in the country. Smucker also makes Jif peanut butter, Folgers coffee, and Milk-Bone dog treats. The ingredient list on Hungry Jack. Original syrup reads corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, caramel color, sorbic acid, sodium benzoate, sodium citrate, and natural and artificial flavors. No maple. Hungry Jack's bottle has one feature worth noting. It is microwavable, and a heat indicator on the label tells you when it is warm. They put engineering into the packaging. They did not put a single drop of tree sap into the product. Smucker's annual revenue in 2024 cleared $13 billion. A gallon of corn syrup costs a manufacturer under $3. A gallon of real maple runs north of $40. That margin is why a $13 billion company sells you flavored corn for breakfast and wraps it in a bottle designed to feel premium. A major food company selling flavored corn is one thing. What happens when the same formula hides behind a store you trust to pick your groceries? Number 8. Kroger. Original Pancake Syrup. Kroger operates nearly 2,700 stores across 35 states. They are the largest traditional supermarket chain in the United States. Their house brand pancake syrup follows the exact formula you have already heard. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, artificial flavors, cellulose gum, caramel color, sodium benzoate, sorbic acid, and sodium hexametaphosphate. It is functionally identical to Great Value and Hungry Jack. But here is the regulatory detail that matters. Under federal law, if a product is labeled maple syrup, it must be made entirely from maple sap. Period. But pancake syrup, table syrup, and breakfast syrup are not legally defined terms. Any company can fill a bottle with corn syrup, color it brown, and call it pancake syrup without breaking a single federal rule. In 2016, 27 members of Congress signed a bipartisan letter to the FDA commissioner demanding an investigation into products that falsely claim to contain maple. They specifically called out brands displaying maple leaves, tree imagery, and sugaring scenes on bottles containing no maple at all. The FDA acknowledged the letter. They took no enforcement action. Kroger stays legal, but the gap between legal and honest gets wider with the brand at number 7, a name most kitchens in America recognize. Number 7. Pearl Milling Company. You knew this brand as Aunt Jemima. In 2021, PepsiCo's Quaker Oats division renamed it Pearl Milling Company after decades of criticism over the brand's racial imagery. What did not change was the recipe. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, caramel color, sodium benzoate, sorbic acid, and sodium hexametaphosphate. Pearl Milling Company is the #1 selling syrup brand in the United States. Not the #1 maple syrup, the #1 syrup. More American households pour Pearl Milling than any other brand, and not one of them is pouring maple. Here is the part that should bother you. Historical Aunt Jemima labels from the mid-20th century listed maple sugar syrup as an actual ingredient. It was partially real maple, blended with corn. At some point, the company removed the maple entirely and replaced it with more corn syrup. They did not lower the price. They did not add a disclaimer. They just stopped using maple and let the old reputation carry the new formula. 4 of the ingredients currently in Pearl Milling Company syrup appear on Whole Foods Market's published list of food additives the company deems unacceptable in food. High fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, sodium benzoate, and sorbic acid. If these ingredient lists are as surprising to you as they were to me, do me a favor and hit subscribe. We investigate a new grocery aisle every single week. Hit the like button too, so this video reaches someone else who deserves to know what is actually in that bottle. Number 6. Mrs. Butterworth's Original. Mrs. Butterworth's has been on shelves since 1961. The bottle is shaped like a grandmother. That was not an accident. Conagra Brands designed that shape to trigger a very specific association. Your grandmother's kitchen, her recipe, the kind of syrup she would make. Warm, homemade, trustworthy. The first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, then corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, molasses, caramel color, sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, and natural and artificial flavors. No maple. The bottle shaped like your grandmother is filled with corn. But Conagra did not stop there. They released a Fruity Pebbles flavored pancake syrup under the Mrs. Butterworth's name. Bright red, marketed to families. The ingredient label includes Red 40, a petroleum-derived synthetic dye that the Cleveland Clinic has connected to hyperactivity, irritability, and allergic reactions in children. Multiple European countries restrict it. Conagra put it in a breakfast product and gave it the color of candy. A grandmother-shaped bottle filled with corn syrup is a marketing choice. A grandmother-shaped bottle filled with petroleum dye is a different conversation entirely. You would think the labeling on this shelf cannot get more deliberate. The next brand proves otherwise, starting with its name. Number 5. Log Cabin Original. Log Cabin was created in 1887 by Patrick Towle, who named it in honor of Abraham Lincoln's childhood home. When it launched, Log Cabin contained 45% real maple syrup cut with corn syrup to keep the price down. It was the affordable maple option, and for decades, that is exactly what it delivered. Today, the ingredient list reads corn syrup, water, sugar, salt, natural flavor, sodium hexametaphosphate, sodium benzoate, sorbic acid, caramel color, phosphoric acid, and mono and diglycerides. The maple is gone. It disappeared somewhere during the brand's journey through General Foods, Kraft, Pinnacle Foods, and its current owner, Conagra Brands. The front of the bottle says no high fructose corn syrup in large letters. That is true. They use regular corn syrup instead. The marketing positions this as a health advantage. Both are refined sweeteners with the same caloric load and no nutritional value. The label reads like a virtue claim. That is the point. A brand that was born from real maple in 1887, passed through 4 corporate owners, had its maple stripped out, and now markets the absence of one corn derivative while relying on another. Same owner as Ms. Butterworth's. Same playbook. But the pattern stretches beyond Conagra's brands and into the restaurant aisle. Number 4. IHOP at-home syrup. The International House of Pancakes put their name on a grocery store bottle. IHOP branded syrup is manufactured and distributed through the same licensing networks behind most of the names on this list. The ingredient profile follows the standard formula: corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, natural and artificial flavors, caramel color, and preservatives. The strategy here is trust transfer. IHOP is a restaurant where you sit down, order pancakes, and eat. The name carries authority because it implies a recipe, a kitchen, a quality standard chosen by a professional. When that name appears on a grocery shelf bottle, you assume it contains what the restaurant uses. That assumption is the entire marketing plan. IHOP restaurants have served a range of syrup products depending on location and supplier agreements. The grocery version is a licensing arrangement. IHOP puts their name on it. A manufacturer fills it with corn. You buy it because the brand means breakfast. Nothing about this is illegal, but there is a difference between legal compliance and earning the trust that a brand name implies. Number three's label problem is not about what it hides. It is about what it confuses. Number 3. Maple Grove Farms Sugar-Free Syrup. Maple Grove Farms was founded in 1915 in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, by Helen Gray and Ethel McLaren. They made maple candy from sap tapped from real trees on their family property. Over the century that followed, the company grew into one of the largest packers of pure maple syrup in the country. That heritage is real. Their sugar-free syrup contains water, sorbitol, cellulose gum, artificial flavors, caramel color, sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, sucralose, phosphoric acid, acesulfame potassium, aspartame, and citric acid. No maple and no sugar. 13 chemical ingredients in a bottle carrying the name of a Vermont maple farm founded over 100 years ago. This is the most confusing entry on the shelf because Maple Grove Farms also sells a completely real, single-ingredient pure maple syrup. Both products sit in the same aisle, under the same brand name, with the same Vermont farm imagery on the label. A shopper who trusts that name can easily grab the wrong bottle. The sugar-free version trades on a century of credibility that the pure maple product earned. One company, 2 bottles. One is sap from a tree. The other is 12 chemicals and no maple. Number 2. Log Cabin. All-natural table syrup. Log Cabin earns a second spot on this list. Their all-natural table syrup is a separate product from the original, with a different formula and a different sales pitch. The front label reads All Natural in prominent text, alongside no artificial flavors and no artificial preservatives. The packaging is designed to signal a premium, healthier alternative. The ingredients are brown rice syrup, sugar, water, and natural flavor. Every ingredient is technically derived from a natural source. Rice is natural, sugar is natural, nothing here is artificial. Nothing here is maple either. This is rice syrup with added sugar, colored to look like maple, priced in the maple section, shelved beside real maple products, and counted on to be picked up by someone in a hurry. Conagra knows exactly what aisle this bottle sits in and exactly what assumption you will make when you reach for it. The word natural on a food label has no binding legal definition from the FDA. The agency has publicly acknowledged this gap. Any company can call any product natural without meeting a standard, because no standard exists. Conagra uses that loophole on both of its Log Cabin products, the original and the upgrade. A maple-free syrup labeled natural, shelved with maple, and priced like maple. Number 1 is the most brazen name on this entire list. Number 1. Vermont Maid. Vermont Maid has been sold since the 1940s. The name evokes a woman from Vermont, hand-pouring syrup the way families in the Green Mountains have done since before the Revolution. The label artwork reinforces that image. The brand is currently owned by B&G Foods, a conglomerate headquartered in Parsippany, New Jersey, whose portfolio includes Green Giant vegetables, Ortega taco shells, and cream of wheat. The ingredient list: high fructose corn syrup, water, natural and artificial maple flavor containing propylene glycol, cellulose gum, caramel color containing sulfites, sodium benzoate, and sorbic acid. Propylene glycol is a compound also used in antifreeze and aircraft de-icing fluid. The FDA considers it safe in food at low levels. It is in your syrup. In 2016, 12 maple producers associations from 9 states and 2 countries formally petitioned the FDA to investigate brands like Vermont Maid. 27 members of Congress co-signed a letter calling the labeling false and misleading. Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont introduced legislation to make intentional mislabeling of maple products a federal felony. The FDA never acted. Vermont Maid contains no required percentage of Vermont maple. It is corn syrup from a corporation in New Jersey, sold under a name engineered to make you believe it comes from a sugar shack. Those are the 10 to leave on the shelf. But 8 brands earned their place on your table, and the differences between them matter. Counting down from number 8. Number 8. Springtree Pure Maple Syrup. Springtree has been produced in Brattleboro, Vermont since the 1970s. The ingredient list on a bottle of Springtree Pure Maple Syrup contains one entry: pure maple syrup. That is it. Nothing else. No corn, no artificial flavors, no preservatives, no cellulose gum, no caramel color. Just concentrated sap from maple trees. Springtree sources from a network of small Vermont sugar makers. The syrup is graded under the USDA grading system, which classifies real maple syrup into 4 categories by color and flavor intensity. Golden is the lightest and most delicate. Amber is the most popular for table use. Dark is richer and works well in cooking. Very dark is the most intensely flavored. The grading exists for real maple only. None of the 10 brands you just heard about qualify for any grade because there is nothing to grade. You cannot grade corn syrup. Springtree typically costs between $8 and $12 for a 12-ounce bottle. That is 3 to 4 times the price of Great Value. But Great Value contains 0 maple. The price comparison is between food and a manufactured substitute. One ingredient on the label is the clearest signal you can find. But it is not the only signal, and the brand at number 7 makes the real thing just as accessible. Number 7. Trader Joe's Grade. A pure maple syrup. Trader Joe's sells an 8-ounce bottle of pure maple syrup for around $6. For a national chain, that is one of the lowest entry prices for real maple on the market. The ingredient list reads the same as Springtree: pure maple syrup. One ingredient. Trader Joe's sources its maple from the northeastern United States and Canada, depending on the season and supplier agreements. The syrup is Grade A, typically amber color rich taste, which is the most versatile grade for everyday use. What makes this bottle notable is not the product itself, it is the shelf placement. In most Trader Joe's locations, the real maple syrup sits in the same aisle as other breakfast items, right where a shopper would expect to find it. There is no pancake syrup pretending to be something it is not. The store does not sell a corn-based imitation labeled to suggest maple. The choice is simple because the store did not clutter it. At $6 for 8 ounces, you are paying about 75 cents per ounce for real maple. Pearl Milling Company costs about 15 cents per ounce for corn syrup. You pay 5 times more, and you get an entirely different substance. So what happens when a brand with a confusing reputation turns out to also make the genuine article? Number 6. Maple Grove Farms Pure Maple Syrup. This is the same company from number 3 on the avoid list. Maple Grove Farms sells both a sugar-free syrup loaded with artificial sweeteners and a pure maple syrup made with a single ingredient. This is the good bottle. Maple Grove Farms Pure Maple Syrup lists its one ingredient: organic maple syrup. It is sourced from Vermont, where the company has operated since Helen Gray and Ethel McLaren started the business in 1915. The company calls itself the largest packer of pure maple syrup in the United States. The pure product has no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial flavors, no preservatives, no sodium, and no cholesterol. The challenge is telling the bottles apart. Both carry the Maple Grove Farms name. Both show Vermont imagery. Both sit in the same aisle. The pure version typically costs between $9 and $13 for 12 ounces, while the sugar-free version costs $5 to $7. If you are reaching for the cheaper bottle under the Maple Grove name, you are reaching for the one with no maple. Read the ingredient list. If it says pure maple syrup and nothing else, it is the real one. If it says anything else, put it back. A farm-founded brand that makes the real thing is worth your trust, but the next one has been doing it for even longer, and they never made a fake version. Number 5. Coombs Family Farms Organic Maple Syrup. The Coombs family has been making maple syrup since 1858. That is 7 generations. They are based in Brattleboro, Vermont, and they source from organic certified family farms across the region. The ingredient list is one item: organic maple syrup. Coombs holds USDA organic certification, which in the maple world means no synthetic pesticides, no chemical defoliants, and no formaldehyde-based pellets in the tap holes. Organic certification for maple also requires that the trees be managed under a forest sustainability plan reviewed by a third-party certifier. The company sources from what they call a cooperative model, working with over 3,000 family sugar makers across Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, New York, and Quebec. Each producer follows the same organic protocols. Coombs handles the blending, grading, bottling, and distribution. Their Grade A dark color, robust taste is one of the most popular options for people who want a strong maple flavor for both cooking and table use. It runs about $10 to $12 for an 8-ounce bottle. 7 generations, 1 ingredient, no corporate parent. That track record is increasingly rare on a grocery shelf dominated by conglomerates. You have seen what heritage and scale look like in a small family operation. The brand at number 4 proves you do not need a famous name to earn trust. Number 4. Butternut Mountain Farm. Butternut Mountain Farm operates out of Morrisville, Vermont, and has been producing maple syrup for over 50 years. They work with a network of approximately 200 family farms across Vermont and supply both retail and food service markets. 1 ingredient, pure Vermont maple syrup. What sets Butternut Mountain apart is consistency. They have built their reputation as a reliable supplier for chefs and food manufacturers who need real maple in volume. Professional kitchens that use maple in sauces, glazes, and baked goods often source from Butternut Mountain because the flavor profile stays uniform batch to batch. That kind of consistency requires careful blending and grading, which is harder than it sounds when you are dealing with sap from hundreds of different farms across different microclimates. Their amber color rich taste is the workhorse of the lineup. It runs about $8 to $11 for a 12-ounce bottle, depending on the retailer. That puts it in the same price range as Maple Grove Farms and Springtree. The company has never produced a flavored or artificial syrup. They have never offered a corn-based product. The entire operation, from forest to shelf, produces one thing. One brand figured out how to put real maple into the hands of the largest club retailer in the country, and they do it for less than anyone else on this list. Number 3. Kirkland Signature Organic Pure Maple Syrup. This is Costco's house brand. A 1-liter jug, just under 34 ounces, sells for around $10 to $12 depending on the warehouse. That works out to roughly 35 cents per ounce, which is less than half the per ounce cost of most other real maple syrups on this list. The ingredient list. Organic maple syrup. 1 ingredient. USDA Organic Certified. Grade A. Amber color rich taste. Kosher. Gluten-free. Packaged in a plastic flip cap jug. Kirkland Signature products work on a simple model. Costco negotiates directly with large-scale producers, bypasses layers of distribution markup, and passes the savings through. The maple syrup is sourced from Canada, primarily Quebec, which produces roughly 70% of the world's maple supply. This bottle is significant because it removes the price excuse. Every fake syrup on the avoid list costs between $2 and $5 per bottle. Kirkland costs $10 to $12 for nearly 3 times the volume. Per ounce, the gap between real maple and corn syrup narrows substantially at Costco. You are no longer choosing between a $2 fake and a $12 real in the same size. The math changes. 1 ingredient, organic certified, less than half the per ounce price of the competition. Number 2 went further than certification. They built a farm around proving it. Number 2, Hidden Springs, Maple Organic Vermont, maple syrup. Hidden Springs operates out of Putney, Vermont, and has earned a reputation among food reviewers as one of the finest pure maple syrups available at retail. The ingredient list is one item, organic maple syrup. In blind taste tests conducted by outlets including Food Network, Hidden Springs consistently ranks at or near the top. Tasters describe notes of toffee, butterscotch, caramel, and vanilla, with a thick texture that balances sweetness without becoming heavy. That complexity comes from the terroir, the specific soil, elevation, and microclimate where the trees grow, combined with the timing of the harvest and the care taken during the boil. Hidden Springs is USDA organic certified and produced in small batches. The company focuses on quality over scale. They do not produce artificial or flavored syrups. They do not license their name to third-party manufacturers. They do not make a sugar-free version. A 12-ounce bottle runs about $12 to $15. That is the premium end of the real maple range, but every dollar goes toward a product that food professionals consistently call one of the best in the country. Hidden Springs earned its reviews on flavor. Number 1, earned its reputation on everything else. Number 1, Crown Maple. Crown Maple operates from an 800-acre estate in Dover Plains, New York, in the Hudson Valley. The company was founded in 2010 by Rob and Lydia Turner, who set out to produce maple syrup with the same approach that premium wineries bring to wine. Single origin sourcing, estate grown, and processed on-site. The ingredient list on a bottle of Crown Maple Amber Color. Rich taste organic maple syrup. One ingredient. Crown Maple holds USDA organic certification and processes all of its syrup in a 7,500 square foot facility built specifically for the purpose. The entire operation, from tree to bottle, happens on one property. There is no cooperative network and no blending from multiple farms. What you taste comes from a single piece of land. Food professionals have consistently highlighted Crown Maple for its depth of flavor. Tasters across multiple publications have noted nutty, toasty, and warm notes alongside traditional maple sweetness. A 12-ounce bottle costs about $10 at most retailers. Crown Maple also produces infused varieties including bourbon barrel-aged and vanilla-infused. But the base product remains a single-ingredient syrup produced under estate conditions that no other brand on this list can match. One estate, one ingredient. Full traceability from forest to shelf. Every formula in this video can change by next quarter. Companies reformulate and adjust labels without telling you. The label report rechecks every verdict monthly and flags recalls before your next grocery trip. Scan the code on screen or use the first link below. $10 a month, cancel anytime. Go annual, and 5 months are free. Just want the method? Both guides are $15 one time, same link.